It starts with the lights. Not the flickering of a dying bulb, but a cold, pervasive blue that bleeds through the seams of the bedroom window. The hum follows, a vibration that resonates in the bone rather than the ear. In 1961, Barney and Betty Hill felt this hum in their marrow, the first publicized victims of a phenomenon that has haunted the rural dark for decades. The victim wakes, but the body is a leaden weight. This isn't sleep paralysis. The air is thick with the smell of ozone and wet cardboard. Shadows detach themselves from the corners. Thin, long-limbed figures with heads like inverted teardrops. They don't walk, they glide, their movement skipping through time like a scratched record. The scream dies in a throat that no longer obeys. Gravity becomes a suggestion. Many report being pulled through solid walls or closed windows, their atoms seemingly vibrating at a frequency that allows passage through matter. As they rise toward the hovering craft, the ground recedes into a mosaic of dark trees and silent houses. The world they knew is replaced by the sterile, humming belly of a machine that defies physics. The interior is always the same. Curved, seamless walls of a pearlescent white, illuminated by a light that has no source. The table is cold, form-fitting, and hard. The abductors move with a terrifying, detached efficiency. There is no cruelty in their large, obsidian eyes, only a clinical curiosity that is far more frightening. To them, the human is not a person, but a specimen. When the victim returns, they are often miles from where they started. The clock on the dashboard or the wall shows hours have passed in what felt like minutes. This missing time is the primary scar of the abduction. The brain, unable to process the trauma, whites out the memories, leaving only a crushing sense of dread and a body that feels fundamentally violated. The Greys aren't here for conquest. They're here for material. Abductees report the extraction of reproductive cells, sperm, and eggs using long, needle-like instruments. This suggests a desperate biological need. The theory is that the visitors are a dying race, suffering from genetic degradation, and they are using the wild human genome to patch the holes in their own DNA. X-rays often reveal tiny, metallic, or crystalline objects lodged in the sinus cavities or behind the ears of abductees. When removed, these implants exhibit strange isotopic ratios not found on Earth. They are tracking devices, or perhaps modems for the mind, allowing the visitors to monitor the subject's location and emotional state across the vastness of the planet. The mind tries to protect itself. Many abductees initially remember seeing a large owl or a strange deer with huge eyes looking through their window. Under hypnosis, these images dissolve, revealing the terrifying face of a Grey. These screen memories are psychological masks, often reinforced by the abductors themselves to keep the subject from descending into total madness. Some abductees are shown nurseries aboard the craft. They describe frail, pale children with wispy hair and large, human-like eyes. They are the hybrids, the result of the biological harvest. The abductees are often forced to bond with these children, a horrific psychological experiment designed to see if the new species possesses the human capacity for empathy and love. The physical evidence is undeniable. Scoop marks, small circular depressions in the skin, and linear scars appear overnight. Some victims develop fluorescent markings visible only under UV light. These aren't accidents. They are the tags of a biological study, marking the human like a biologist might tag a shark in the deep ocean to track its migration and health. Abductions often run in families. If a mother was taken, her children are likely to be targeted as well. This suggests the visitors are tracking specific bloodlines. They aren't interested in all humans, only those with certain genetic markers that are compatible with their hybridization program. We are being farmed by a civilization that thinks in terms of centuries, not years. In 1976, 4 artists on a camping trip in Maine were taken simultaneously. Their accounts, given under separate regressions, were identical. This multiple witness event shattered the idea that abductions are just individual hallucinations. 4 men saw the craft, felt the beam, and lived through the same sterile nightmare, proving the physical reality of the phenomenon. The Greys do not speak. Their communication is an internalized broadcast that feels like your own thoughts, but with an alien cadence. They can suppress pain, induce calm, or command the body to move with a single mental pulse. This total control of the human nervous system is their greatest weapon, making physical restraints or cages entirely unnecessary. The trauma of the abduction is often doubled by the world's reaction. Victims are ridiculed, lose their jobs, and see their marriages crumble. The cover-up isn't just a government policy, it's a social one. By making the experience crazy, society ensures that the truth remains buried in the psychiatric ward rather than the scientific laboratory. Many abductees are shown vivid visions of a dying Earth, oceans rising, forests burning, and nuclear fire. The visitors seem to be warning us, or perhaps mourning a resource they are currently harvesting. This ecological message suggests that the visitors have a stake in our planet's survival, even if they view us as little more than livestock on a failing ranch. In 1975, Travis Walton was struck by a beam from a UFO in front of his logging crew. He was gone for 5 days. When he returned, he described a terrifying fight for his life inside a craft filled with both Greys and Nordic human-looking entities. His case remains one of the most physically documented abductions, with his crew passing polygraph tests about his disappearance. Not all abductors are Greys. Some are tall, blonde, and beautiful, appearing as perfected humans. These Nordics often act as the supervisors. Some theorists believe they are the final stage of the hybridization program, beings that can walk among us undetected, serving as the bridge between the dying stars and the vibrant, chaotic Earth. Some abductees report seeing human military personnel working alongside the Greys in underground facilities. These MILAB, military abduction, reports suggest a dark trade. The government provides access to the population in exchange for advanced technology. The secret treaty is written in the blood and trauma of the citizens the state is supposed to protect. The visitors seem fascinated by the human brain, specifically the pineal gland. Some abductees describe energy being harvested from their heads during moments of intense fear or joy. This loosh theory suggests the visitors aren't just harvesting DNA, but emotional energy, a substance they cannot produce themselves, making humanity a battery for their civilization. The abduction experience often leads to a spiritual awakening. Victims become obsessed with ecology, peace, and the interconnectedness of all life. This suggests the Greys might be gardening our souls as much as our bodies. The trauma is the tilling of the soil, breaking the ego to allow a new, more cosmic consciousness to grow in the wake of the terror. One of the most tragic aspects is the missing pregnancy syndrome. Women report being pregnant for weeks, only to have the fetus vanish after a night of strange lights. Doctors find no evidence of miscarriage. The womb is simply empty. These children of the stars are the primary goal of the harvest, raised in glass jars far from the warmth of a mother's arms. Some abductees begin to feel they don't belong on Earth. They develop memories of other worlds and advanced mathematics they never studied. This Starseed phenomenon suggests that some abductions are actually reunions. The visitors returning to check on agents or souls they planted into human families to observe our development from the inside. Abduction sites often show dead zones where no grass grows for years. Soil samples show high levels of radiation and microscopic glass spheres. These physical trace cases prove that something with immense energy landed. It wasn't a dream or a waking hallucination. It was a multi-ton craft that displaced the Earth and scarred the land with its presence. Abductions aren't a Western problem. From the jungles of Brazil to the steppes of Russia, the stories are identical. Tribes with no access to TV described the sky people, taking them into shining huts to look at their blood. The universality of the narrative proves that this is a global biological program, one that ignores borders and cultures to focus on the human species. For many, the trauma never ends. Every flash of a camera, every hum of a refrigerator, and every owl hooting in the distance triggers a PTSD response. They live in a state of hypervigilance, waiting for the blue light to return. The abduction isn't a one-time event. It's a life sentence of looking at the sky and wondering when they will be called back to the table. Some believe we are being preserved like an endangered species. If the visitors know a solar flare or a pole shift is coming, the hybridization program is a lifeboat. They are merging our DNA with their technology so that some part of humanity survives the coming cataclysm. The abduction is an act of cold, calculated salvage for a race that is about to lose its home. In the 1990s, Dr. John Mack of Harvard began studying abductees. He concluded they were not lying. He found that the transformative power of the experience was too consistent to be a delusion. His work lent academic weight to the horror, suggesting that we are experiencing a forced evolution at the hands of a superior, though morally ambiguous intelligence. Rumors of a multi-level base in New Mexico describe nightmare halls where humans and greys work on genetic experiments. Whistleblowers describe vat-grown beings and failed hybrids. Dulce is the rumored ground zero for the biological harvest, the place where the material taken from bedrooms across the world is processed into the new race of the future. The wiping of memories is done through a neural link. It's not always perfect. Small glitches occur. The smell of a certain chemical or a specific sound can bring back the memory of the cold table. These flashbacks are the cracks in the alien mask, allowing the victim to see the truth of their life as a specimen in a cosmic lab they can never escape. There are sleepers among us, people who have been abducted hundreds of times and have no idea. They live normal lives, but their bodies carry the implants and their DNA carries the edits. They are activated only when the visitors need a specific data point. We could be sitting next to a star-touched human every day, unaware of the silent war for our genetic future. If abductions are real, then human history is not our own. We have been guided and harvested since our inception. The Greys aren't invaders, they are owners. The realization that we are a property species is the ultimate horror, the secret that governments hide to prevent the total collapse of human ego and the concept of free will. Some claim to have fought back. through meditation, specific frequencies, or spiritual shielding, they have stopped the abductions. This suggests the visitors require a certain mental compliance or frequency match to take a subject. If we can change our internal tuning, we might finally be able to close the door on the bedroom light forever. The program seems to be reaching its conclusion. The latest generation of hybrids reported by abductees are almost indistinguishable from humans. They are ready to be integrated. The abduction era may be ending because the goal, a new, stable, Earth-compatible species, has finally been achieved. The harvest is over. The planting is about to begin. One day, the aliens won't need to take us in the night. They will walk among us as our neighbors, our leaders, and our children. The abduction phenomenon will be remembered as the birth pains of a new era. We will look back and realize that the Greys weren't monsters. They were the surgeons of our evolution, whether we wanted the surgery or not. Until that day, the blue light will continue to find its way through the cracks. The hum will still vibrate in the bones of the chosen. The alien abduction remains the most personal and terrifying contact possible. A reminder that in the vast, cold ocean of the stars, we are not the masters, but the protected and harvested subjects of a mystery we are only beginning to see.